something that I like to do is to choose even lengths of weavers. So as you can see, there are different lengths here. So I'm just going to grab them from the top like that and pull out the longest rod. Nice. I have two groups here, the longer ones and the shorter ones, and we're going to start our first band from the shorter one. So let's put these aside, and we're going to need 12 weavers for our first band. So that's 2, 4, 6, 10, 12. Alright. We're going to take 3 rods and insert them one after the other. This one enters behind this stake, next one enters behind this stake, and third one behind this stake, one after the other, like that, beginning from the tip end. And now we're going to start with a 3-rod wale. I'm taking the left one each time. This one would be the one on the most left, and weaving it like that. This one is the one on the most left. It's basically what you do. You go over 2 stakes and behind one. This is a 3-rod wale. Now this one goes over 2, right? This one is the first, second, and behind one. Over 2 and behind one. I should have replaced this one, but I'm just too lazy to do it. Now, I feel like counting over 2 and behind one might be a bit confusing, because suppose I'm taking this one now. Sometimes you don't really see that it's going in front of this one, so you might count this one as the first one. So it's 1, 2, and then go behind this one, which is a mistake. So the easier thing to do is to see where the last one have gone out from. This one is the last one, or the one on the most right. Comes out of here, right? So if it comes out of here, the next one will come out of here, right? We're going each stack at a time. So this one comes out of here, the next one will come out of here behind one stake. So I'm just going behind one stake and exiting here. Going behind one stake here and exiting after the last stake. Now before we continue here, let's see where we are. What we're going to do here is we're going to weave with 2 sets of 3 weavers. We're going to have 2 sets of a 3-rod wale, and the reason why we need 2 sets is because we want to even out the height of the waling band. If we just use a single set, it begins from thin and then it becomes thicker, and then you can't really control where it's thicker and when it's thinner. you might have one side higher than the other side of the basket. So now, in this case, we're in a 24 stake basket. So let's see where we began here. The first one begins behind this one. So I'm counting this as the first one, right? First one enters behind this. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12. This is 12. And this will be the beginning of the second group of 12, this one. So just move this out of the way for a second. We have 12 here, and then another 12 starting from here. And the 13th is you can call it the first one of the second group of 12. So now we're doing what we did before, once again. This one is not too good. All right, and this group of three waits for now, and we're now weaving with this second group of 3, the second set of waling. Now, as you can see, I'm going over the beginning of the previous row. I think that's fine. We're just continuing to weave now. We're climbing up to the second row. Now, this stage of weaving the lower band in waling is called the upset. This stage determines the angle of the stakes, and it arranges the spaces in between the weavers and arranges them. It's the first chance to level them correctly. So as we are weaving, we want to make sure to even out the spaces in between the stakes. So it takes a few rounds. It doesn't happen instantly. And we also want to make sure that the stakes are once again leveled. You don't want one to be on the outside, one to be on the inside. You want it to be as leveled as possible. Right. And now you can see that I've reached the second group here, the group that we've started with. So now these 3 are going to wait this group, and we're going to continue with the first group now. Once again, I've reached the second group here. So this group waits, and I'm going to continue with the second group and the other group. As you can see, since the weavers became thicker, and I don't want them to get the stakes out of their position, instead of doing this motion of in and out, I'm getting to the inside, holding it, and getting back to the outside, and that helps me to keep the stakes as I want them when the weavers are quite thick. You can also see the position of the left hand here. and the job of the left hand. I will always you basically put your fingers through the stakes like that, and with your thumb direct the weavers and hold them the way you want. Like that. Now I don't always do it with my thumb necessarily, but this is the correct way to work. This one weaves, and this one weaves. Right. Now they are right across from each other. The join here is exactly across from the join here. The first join in this group is exactly across from the first join in the other group. Now, right. Now is also a good chance to see if our basket is shaped correctly, which in this case it might not be. I'm just opening up the knot for a second and doing it again. We want to get the right shape. We want to get the desired angle. We want to make sure that everything is arranged properly. All right. If you don't get the right angle during the upset, or during the, I would even say that the first rows of the upset, then it's pretty much impossible to change it afterwards. You have to get the right angle right from the start. Let's move that out of the way. Alright, so we have our replacement rods here. And first we take the one on the most left and join like that. We're just entering behind it, you can say, towards the inside. That's it, that's the join. This one stays outside. It's still pretty thick here. Now, next one, just like that. And when you insert it towards the inside, I like to make sure that I get it to the inside. I get a nice portion of it to the inside so that I could then move it with my thumb like that when I want to trim from the inside. And you'll see later why this is important. You don't want it to be to insert it just enough so that it will hold. You want to insert it a bit more. It will make your life easier. Alright. Notice how I'm shaping with my thumb here and making sure that if there's a kink, it will be right on top of the stake and not in the middle. Very, very important. Now the weavers feel quite thick. It's a bit difficult to work with them. I would like to have worked with weavers that are just a bit thinner for this in this particular case. But it's important to manage and to be able to work when you didn't choose the perfect thickness of weavers. Now as they become thinner, it will be easier to work. Now, as you can see, this space here doesn't look so good, so we have to make sure to use our wrapping iron and fasten the work. But now actually we can also trim these ends, and the way we do it is we pull them a bit towards the left side and we make the cut like that. We want to make sure that the cut isn't felt when you move your hands across the side. You don't want to feel the cut, right? You don't want it to be too long. You want it to be just long enough to hold itself, and you don't want it to be too sharp, you know, in too much of an angle, because then it will start, you know, catching on to stuff, and it might be unpleasant. It has to be a diagonal angle. I would say something like a 45-degree angle, or perhaps more. You know, a 90-degree angle will obviously give us. We'll obviously be able to feel it, but if we make the angle too sharp, that will also not be perfect. So now let's continue here. Weavers are still quite thick. I'm trying my best to keep the stakes from distorting. We've reached the second group here, and we're going to once again join 3 replacement weavers, just like we did before. This would be the first. Second. They're quite thick, quite difficult to work with at this point. All right. So now this group here waits, and we're working with the second group. Obviously, there's a lot to pay attention to, and if you're a complete beginner and if waling is completely new to you, this might be a bit confusing. I would say make sure to get the waling right at this point. At this point, it's more important than getting the shaping right and getting the spaces just perfect. This one, perfect. Now let's finish the other 3. Oh. All right. Great, so got our upset down, finished, and let's trim those 3 ends. Let's trim them on the inside. I've trimmed them on the inside, one after the other. One here, and one here. And now this group. Alright, so now we can actually untie our stakes. Now the work is going to be much easier when they are loose. Perfect. Now let's do some trimming from the inside, and this is just like we did on the outside. Same principles apply. And you take your, I don't know if you can see what I'm doing here. You grab on your ends, move them up like that, and make the cut. Just like we did on the outside. Also we have those tip ends here. Great, so now we've finished our lower band, also known as the upset, and you can see that my basket is pretty stable at the moment because it has this bowl shape that we've created. So now we're going to take our rending rods and begin with French rending.